I firmly believe that you become what you read every single day. I love this quote by George R.R. Martin: "The reader lives 1,000 lives, but those who don't read live only once." For everything I have ever achieved at this young age, for all of the podcasts I've been able to do, all the freelance clients I've been able to make, all the revenue I've been able to generate, and all the success I've had, I dedicate all of this to these 10 most important books that I have read in the last 3 to 4 years, and these have had the biggest impact in my life. Hi everyone, I'm Ishan Sharma, and in this video I want to share with you all of these 10 books and the most important lessons I have taken from each of them. And if you keep watching, you'll find a great way to listen to these audiobooks for free. Make sure to hit the like button, and I have a question for you. What is the book that you are currently reading? Let me know in the comment section. But let's talk about the 10 most important books of my life. The first one has to be the most cliched one, called as How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, when I first picked up the book, the title sounded rather clickbaity and cringe, but when I actually read the book, I just loved the practical tips that Mr. Carnegie have shared that I can actually apply in my own life, right? So I read this book just before coming to college so that I would have all the communication skills and the tips that are required for me to succeed in a social environment like a college, right? And I'll tell you, this book has helped me out a lot, because in business, in freelancing, in YouTube, it's all about working with people, right? It's all about making sure that you have the best relationships with people. And this book will help you to do exactly that. The biggest takeaways I've had from this book is to, number one, remember their names. Number two, make sure that you're genuinely interested in them and you'll end up making a lot more friends. And number three, becoming a good listener is much more important to have great conversations. This book taught me a lot about how to make friends and how to just have a great impression when you meet someone. So I think this is a must-read book for anyone who needs to step out in the real world and work with clients or build a big business, because at the end of the day, it's all about the people that you work with. The second book on this list is Super Thinking. This is a wonderful book which has over 100 different mental models, and it teaches you about how can you take better decisions in life. When you will have these models with you, you can implement them in different situations in your life, and that will help you to be a critical thinker and take better decisions in life. Because at the end of the day, the people at the top of any company, they are not getting paid for doing a lot of things. They get paid a lot because they take 1 or 2 good decisions in life. Even Jeff Bezos says it, that if he can take 1 or 2 good decisions, that is a good year. That's all that he needs to do for his company. And that is what you need to realize. There are too many mental models that I've learned about from this book. The most important ones are root cause analysis, becoming anti-fragile, inverse thinking, the difference between reversible and irreversible decisions, and there are too many for me to remember. Lateral thinking is also another one that you need to understand. But there are so many different mental models that you have to dig into when you go through this book so that you can make better decisions in life. I believe that reading is a habit that every one of you should learn to build. It's not just about entertainment, it's about expanding your horizons and learning something new every day. But I know a lot of you who are trying to build this habit don't have the time to particularly sit and read a book. And that's where Audible comes into play. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks and is available on all devices. Whether you're on a commute or just relaxing at home, Audible is the perfect companion. You can access all of your books anywhere, anytime. I personally have been using Audible for the past 1 year, and my favorite activity is to listen on audiobooks while I am on flights. And now, for a limited time, Audible is offering you an opportunity to experience their vast library of books for free, and that too for 2 months. That's right, you can now experience the joy of reading without any commitments. So what's stopping you? Click the link in the description and take advantage of this limited period offer where you get to enjoy 2 months of Audible for completely free. Which audiobook will you listen first? Let me know below, and now let's get back to the video. The third book is my personal favorite, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. It's a wonderful book which shows you the problem with ego and how it destroys the careers of the most successful people in the world. It also teaches you stoic philosophies which can help you stay grounded and focus on doing the work, right? Like right now, it is 26th of January, Republic Day. It's morning about 3:25 p.m. I am still recording videos because tomorrow I have to go for a 2-week trip. So I want to make sure that everything stays in place. And this is what you will get when you will learn about stoicism and when you will not let ego come into your work and once you become a little bit successful in life. I think the most important lessons I learned from it was the importance of talking less and doing more. Because sometimes, when you talk a lot about what you want to do, you feel that because I've talked about it, I have achieved something. But in reality, you have not. The second thing I learned from this book is to always be a student, right? When you are a student, you're always asking questions. You're always curious. You are not having dogmas. You're not having particular old perceptions about something. You're always thinking that you might be wrong, and that is why you need to keep asking questions. I also learned about practicing self-control and the dangers of pride in your life. There was a part in which they were talking about pride is the most deadly sin that you can have as someone who wants to grow in life. Right? You need to stay humble, you need to focus on your work, and you need to practice self-control and delayed gratification. And that is what was my biggest learning from this book, Ego is the Enemy. The fourth book is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Now this book particularly taught me a lot about wealth creation, about the future of work, about building specific knowledge, working with long-term people and playing long-term games. And there is just so much to take away from this book. I advise you to buy the paperback version and literally highlight the parts that you find the most interesting, and then use Notion to document everything that you're learning from it, and then see how can you implement it in your own life, right? It talks about leverage, it talks about how can you build code or how can you create content as leverage. And I think this is one of the most fundamental books that every 20-year-old should listen if they want to thrive in this digital economy. The fifth book has to be The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. It's a wonderful book if you want to understand how can you get rich quick but not easy. Yes, that is actually true. People might think, get rich quick is just a scam. It is not. There are ways through which you can actually get rich quick. However, it is not easy. Right? That is very important for you to understand. The people who say that you can get rich easy and quick are the ones who are really selling you the dream and are selling you the scam. But in this book, the author divides people into 3 categories. Number 1 is the sidewalk. People who are broke, who don't contribute to the society, who are a liability to people. And then you have the slow lane. This is where the majority of the people lie, in which they are working in a job that pays them just enough so that they can invest a bit into their savings, into their investments, so that after a span of 40-50 years is when they get to retire and live off their life. And then you have the best of them all, the fast lane people. These are the people who are building wealth and are enjoying the fruits of their labor early in their life, when it is actually possible for you to travel, invest in your experiences, and build new relationships. So he talks about what are the differences between fast lane and slow lane, and how can you be a part of this fast lane approach. He basically gives 5 commandments for any business that you might want to start. These are control, entry, need, time, and scale, right? Control. You need to be the sole person who controls your business. If there is some other entity that you depend upon, then you would never have your own freedom, right? That is the first thing. The second thing is entry. If your business is easiest to enter into, you are in the wrong business. If any person can tomorrow start your business, you are in the wrong business. You need to have a business which is hard to enter, because that is when your product and your service will actually have value. Third is need. How much does your customer really need your product, right? Do they desperately need your product, or they're just like a good to have, right? You need to distinguish between both of those. The fourth one is time. If in your business you need to put in time to get things done, you are not in a business, you are actually doing a job at the very end of the day. So you need to figure out how can your business expand without you having to particularly put in effort for the same. How much can your business scale with the least amount of labor? And these are the 5 commandments. I absolutely love this book. You have to give it a read, take notes, and then implement on the advice and be a part of the fast lane approach. The next book is my personal favorite. It's called The Personal MBA by Josh Kaufman, in which it's more of a complete business encyclopedia. right? You can find everything that you might want when you start your own business. Like you can literally skip your MBA with just this book, The Personal MBA. The way this works is that they've divided into multiple sections like sales, sections like delivering value, sections like hiring people, and it gives you practical advice for each of these segments that you can implement into your own business. I think this was the most useful for me when I was starting my own business, MarketUp, and growing it. I still take lessons from it every single day and implement it in my day-to-day life and at my work at MarketUp. So that is the best part about this book. You just read it once and you get all of the business gyan and the tricks and the tips that will help you to succeed in business or in building a place that creates value for your users at the end of the day. The seventh book is The Algebra of Happiness. This is written by Scott Galloway, who is a professor at a New York Stern College. Now, the book talks about what is happiness and where does happiness come from? What will really give you happiness? How much money will give you happiness, if at all? Will a marriage give you happiness? Will kids give you happiness? Will your parents give you happiness? So it gives you like a way for you to create your own equation for happiness by listening to the author's own experiences of what made him the most happy in his life. I think this is the most important concept for you to understand. When I understood it, it made the most sense to me. Like, what is happiness to me is me making this video so that you get inspired and you do something of your own. I do a meetup and you come to me and you say that you've changed my life. That is what happiness is to me, rather than making all the millions or crores of rupees, even though that is actually a good thing that helps me to sustain my work and continue making videos like these. So Algebra of Happiness, a wonderful book if you want to learn about the secret of being happy, of finding happiness in your work. The next book is Rework by Jason and David, who are the founders of Basecamp. Now, I particularly love this book because it has a ton of unconventional advice that might not sound true at first, but is actually real and works all the time. It's very easy to go through the whole book. They literally have a ton of diagrams, they have easy text to read, and you can understand everything. They have, every chapter is just like 2 to 3 pages long. Just a few lessons I learned from this book was that learning from your own mistakes is overrated. You only realize that, okay, this thing doesn't work, but you still don't know about what really works, right? So this advice is overrated. Another one is to start a business and not a startup. I think most people these days are focusing too much on raising funding, of being in the news, of growing their revenue, but not thinking about how can they make a profitable, sustainable business. While that is what is the most important thing and the first concept of business, that is having a profit. And the last one, meetings are toxic. While most of you have seen businessmen doing meetings all the time, that is the worst way to get things done ahead in your company. And these are just some lessons I learned from it. I think you need to go through the book. Even if you don't have a business of your own, I think this book will teach you a lot of lessons about work in general. So go give it a read. The ninth book is Ikigai. Now this book is amazing because it talks about how can you find passion? How can you find that work that is truly satisfying and that checks the 4 boxes, right? You like it, it impacts, you can sustain a living with it, and that is what you need to figure out. If you can find out that middle spot in all of those 4 circles, you can find your calling, your Ikigai. There are other concepts in the book as well, like, you know, eating 80% of your full capacity, and a ton of really interesting advice around meditating, journaling, about mindfulness in general, which I think everyone should read. You know, most people are right now in that mode of hustle. Well, this book gives a different perspective. It talks about the lives of people that are living in that area in Japan and what has helped them to live a long and happy life, right? So it talks about all of those incredible lessons and tips that you need to give a read about. The last book on my list is Fast, Cheap and Viral. Now this book is written by the marketing head of Ixigo. The book is exceptionally well written if you want to become a content creator. I just got this book because I liked the cover, but when I actually read the book, I just really enjoyed it. It talks about what is virality on social media. Viral का मतलब क्या होता है? Right? The author shares their own experience of creating viral organic campaigns, and it also talks about how can you make something that is shareable, right? How can you make something that is cool that people would want to share and brag about, right? Like what is the unique brag-worthy proposition of your content, right? So it talks about a lot of different strategies. It talks about a lot of things that you can implement and create better, more engaging content. And these are the 10 books that have completely changed my life in the last 2 years. And I hope that you will read these books as well. I would advise you to reread all of these books that I'm talking about today as well, because the thing is, it's not that you will get some new information when you will reread the book. That is not going to happen, but it is that you discover new parts of yourself that were not present before. That is the value of rereading a book. You can find the links of all of these books in the description as well. Also check out Audible and get your 2 free months. Listen to your audiobook. Also let me know which audiobook will you like to listen on Audible in the comment section as well. And I will see you in the next video. You can share this video with your friends on social media. You can tag me at Ishan Sharma 7390, and you can also share this video. You can hit the like button. You can subscribe if you have not already. If you're still watching, write in the comment section, I watched till the very end. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.